Thanks for visiting the Grasshopper Lawn Care channel. Today we're going to go over installing the advanced chute blocker from Ballard Inc. As you can see, I've got the number 1 tool out and I'm sorting up my parts. We are installing this unit on a Toro multi-force. The first thing we're going to do is match up and attach the chute blocker against the mounting bracket. Attach the two pieces by taking your two 3/8" bolts, nylon washers, and 2 lock nuts. Place a little grease on the nylon washers. That way it'll lubricate and swing easier. Don't tighten these down too much at this point. The unit comes stock with the lower handle shown here in the picture. If you have a stander, I would pay the extra $30 for the upper handle. Once you slide the handle on, grease the larger nylon washer and then use a 3/4 inch nut and snug this up. You can tighten it up later. I ended up spraying a little lithium grease between the washer and nylon nut before we snugged it up. Now you're going to dry fit the mounting bracket and the chute on the unit. They gave you several spacers, so you're going to figure out what works best for you. You want the bottom of the chute to be even with the deck so it doesn't gouge when you're mowing. Align the spacers on the mounting bracket with any of the pre-drilled holes. Before you drill any holes, you want to make sure that you're satisfied with your spacing. The flap lays flat against the hole of the chute, and the bottom of the flap is even with the deck. I marked around the spacers and then used the smallest spacer to put a Sharpie in the middle to show me where I needed to make my indentation for the drill. Make sure you use a center punch that'll make a divot into hard steel so your drill bit doesn't wander on you. Before you start drilling and making holes in your deck, make sure the bolts are going to clear everything in the bottom. You don't want it hitting a baffle or anything like that. I started with a smaller bit and worked my way up to the proper size. Now run your bolts up through the bottom, through the spacers, and snug it up from the top. You're going to have to get a wrench on the head of the nut underneath so it doesn't spin when you're tightening. Now you have to secure the spring to both the bracket and the chute so it has tension. We used a zip tie on the end of the spring so we could pull it back and then I could secure it. Now we're going to go through the whole unit and just snug things up. If you ordered the extended handle, you're going to take the rubber grip end off this one like I'm doing right now, and then you're going to attach the secondary handle and try to get a nice dry fit where you want it. Not sure why, but they don't include any hardware to connect the two handles, but there are some pre-drilled holes in the upper handle. So get your positioning, drill some holes straight through, and pick up some bolts, washers, and lock nuts from the hardware store. Being honest with you, the instructions that came with the unit aren't that great, and that's half the reason I made this video. But I believe the unit itself is pretty solid for the price. I hope this was helpful. Give me a thumbs up and a comment.